And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success, episode 209, this morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, our new time. And welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. And it's an awesome Tuesday. Good to see everybody here. And everybody's posting their temperatures. You know it's fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's chilly here, but it's not chilly enough to wear a jacket or a sweatshirt. But Florida people are funny because we have one little sign of a cold front. I mean, it's not even really a legit cold front. Like maybe a cool breeze. They got scarves, boots, leather jackets. It's like they're dying for an opportunity to wear winter clothes. It's just funny, you know.
Yeah. I actually remember some of my first experiences when I was traveling to the Atlantic coast of Florida for work years ago, and I'd go down in February, and to me, coming from Minnesota, getting off the plane and like smelling cut grass in February is just weird, and I'd walk around and people had those parkas with like the fur collars around them. I'm going, and I'm wearing like shorts and a tank top, you know? Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's like 65 degrees. This is summer weather. But, yeah.
I'm with you, bro. I'm the same way because, you know, and it's funny when you and I travel because we'll go places and I'll be like, dude, this is freezing. I need a coat. And you're like, what? This is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so today is Tuesday, and just like every Tuesday, we talk about life coaching, motivation, and sometimes segue into coffee. No, just kidding. Well, sometimes we do, but that's not our topic. And so we're going to talk about some life coaching, motivation things. We've got some questions, but Matt, I read something this morning that I wanted to share real quick.
Before we get into the questions, Mike, just a reminder to everybody that this is a Mission 25 week. This coming Friday night, Mike and I and our team are going to our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And probably, Mike, when you look at all the mission trips we've done, this might be our biggest leap of faith. This might be our most radical move yet. We've scheduled, I believe, 5 total events, 4 or 5 events on Saturday. When I say events, missions projects. Let's say that, not events. But one of them being, we are attempting to cook for 1,000 homeless people. Chili, we're really chili bowls. Chili, sour cream, cheese, Fritos, you know. It's a perfect fall dish.
Whole deal.
You know.
Right.
And, you know, what's cool about this is this particular homeless shelter has 2,500 homeless people that are homeless in Washington, D.C. that stay in the shelter, men, women, and children. And they don't get food on Saturdays. So we're able to bring them a meal. Otherwise, they wouldn't get a meal unless they're able to, like, you know, go, you know, maybe Panhandle or whatever. Maybe some kind church group would bring by a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But they're actually going to get a legit meal. And looking forward to this, man. Also, for the first time ever, we're going to a veterans hospital. This is a new flow of Mission 25, going and serving our vets. And again, these are homeless vets. These are vets that fought and served our country, fought for our country, served our country. And, you know, we asked them, what can we do to help? And they said, you know, blankets, you know, a pack of cards, you know, crossword puzzles. So we're working really hard this week to finish raising the rest of our money so we can do all these things for these amazing people. Then we're going to actually a family shelter, women and children, basically like a battered woman's shelter. And we're going to serve these kids. You know, of all that we do, Mike, I got to say, helping these kids that live in these shelters is probably among my favorite of Mission 25. But just wanted to give a shout out. Go to mission25usa.com, or there's our GoFundMe page, actually. There it is, the direct link. If you want to give to this, rarely do Mike and I ever ask, but when we do, we mean it. So you'd be surprised how much $25, $100, $1,000 would help towards this missions trip. I think we're about $4,000 short of our goal. That'll come in this week, but why don't you be a part of it and help donate to Mission 25. But anyways, Mike, what were you starting to say? You were starting to say you read something somewhere.
Yeah, I was actually reading this morning, reading a very good article on LinkedIn, actually, and talking about really was talking about toxic people, but it was one of the things that it mentioned was stress. And you realize that repeated exposure to stress actually reduces your mental capacity, your memory capacity, your ability to reason, and really it has a physiological effect on like the chemistry and the chemical makeup of your brain. So exposure to stress, being stressed, or really, because stress is an internal thing, it's not an external thing. And when you allow yourself to be stressed, it actually has a negative effect on the chemistry and the biology of your brain. It has an effect on how well you think and how clearly you can think and how well you can remember things, which was amazing to me. I didn't realize that.
If you don't mind, Mike, I'm sorry, but I couldn't remember what you were just now talking about. Can you kind of refresh me?
That's what I'm talking about. Wait, are you telling me you got stress? What?
No stress in my life. I refuse stress. I refuse it. Absolutely. I'm on an anti-stress. No, Mike, you're right, and I believe that. I do believe that. I believe stress affects us more than we even realize. And most people don't even know how to manage stress. You have to manage it. Stress is coming. There's no way to live life without stress. There's no way to live your life the way we're supposed to live our life without stress. Stress is always going to be there. It's how you manage that stress. It's how you think about the problem. It's how you view, the situation or the circumstance that's going to determine whether you let that stress in. It's kind of like they say, you can't keep a bird from flying over your head, but you can keep a bird from hooping in your hair. So in other words, be careful what you let in. I have stress. Oh yeah, there's things that are going on in my life that most of you would still be in bed right now. You would be literally depressed. You would be needing some type of doctor's visit. But it's all in how you manage it, Mike. It's all in what you decide to let affect you or not.
Right. Exactly right. Stressful situations happen in life. The article that I read in the medical studies are really prolonged exposure to stress. So people that like dwell on stressful situations, allow stress to run their lives, those are the people who are going to have really damage to their brain. I mean, it's startling, but it's true. Will have actual damage to their brain because of the stress, because of the chemical effects of that stress on their body, which is amazing to me. I'm like, well, there's one more reason to try to eliminate stress from your life, and I believe that there's external stressors, but most stress comes from inside. And so when we handle stress emotionally, the proper way, then it's not gonna have such an impact on us. So
I believe that, Michael.
One other quick analogy, which I read in the article, which was so powerful to me, and we've talked about toxic people 100 times probably, so I don't really want to go there so much, but what a powerful analogy about having toxic people and separating yourself from them. The author of the article, and I should probably post the article in the show notes, but he said, why would you allow yourself to be influenced by a toxic person? He said that would be like sitting next to someone who's smoking a cigarette and just breathing all that secondhand smoke and never doing anything about it. Why would you take that toxicity in your body when all you have to do is get up and move?
Oh, that's good. Mike, that's good. And that's something we really have to take serious is people that are toxic. As much as we might love them, as much as we might want to help them. Like Mike, how fair does it seem? How logical? Like, okay, the flight. I fly every week almost. You do as well. And, at the very beginning, they tell you if the oxygen mask drops first, you would think, oh, help your wife, help your kids. No. Like, you have to put it on you. They tell you, put it on yourself first, then your kids, which is totally opposite of what any of us would naturally, instinctively do. But the principle of that is you're not going to be able to help your wife and kids if you have no oxygen yourself. So that's why they say put it on you first, then you can help. Because, at the end of the day, Mike, here's the deal. You may not want to confront these toxic people. You may not want to pull away. But day by day, they're dragging you right down with you. And before long, you're not even going to be able to get out of that mess yourself. That's why, Mike, I'm pretty quick these days. I'm pretty quick to pull away from negative, toxic people. You know what I'm saying? And, you know,
Yeah.
case in point, there was a guy that wanted to coach baseball with me over the last couple of years. So I'll kind of just date it over a couple of years in case anybody's watching. And the guy knows baseball. Like he knows baseball probably as good as almost anybody I've met, right? But I refused to coach with him because he was so toxic in his thinking, his energy. He was so negative, the way he talked to the kids. And I actually tried it once, thinking I could change him. But unless someone wants to change, really wants to change, and it's not even just the desire to change. They've got to have not only the desire, but the willingness to take the steps necessary to change. And I realized as positive as I am, as upbeat as I am, I couldn't change him. So he wanted to coach again. The season ended and he wanted to coach again with me. And I just said, look, it's just not a fit. At the end of the day, you're a good man. You know what? You know a lot about baseball. It's just not a fit. And that's something you've got to understand in all of your relationships, that you've got to be extremely careful who you let in your life because that toxic, negative energy will rub off on you.
That's
Yeah,
good.
you can use it.
I wanted to.
Absolutely.
One of the funniest comments I've ever seen by Tommy. Tommy Turner says, "Speaking of pooping in your hair, never have a conversation while standing next to a chicken truck." Rookie mistake.
Rookie mistake.
That's some good practical advice right there.
It's good. It's, you know what? That's life coaching 101. Thank you, Tommy. I would have never known that, so I'm going to be more careful next time.
That's I'm probably going to use that in an analogy someday. You know, just never have a conversation while standing next to a chicken truck. Yeah, that'll work. We'll use that.
Or behind a horse.
Yeah, or standing behind a cow in a dairy barn, also not a good place. So suddenly we're digressing into animal defecation. Okay, anyways.
It's my fault.
It's Tommy's fault.
Analogy in the first place.
Hey, so we've got a few questions I want to roll into here, talking about. Hey, let me ask you this: Let's talk about habits and the power of habits and how important they are. There's good habits, there's bad habits. Here's a question for you: what has been one of the hardest habits that you had to break, and how did you break it?
Habits. Speaking of
Obviously,
habits,
we're talking about negative habits.
my
Yeah.
son was telling me that he loves to chew Tums before a game last night. And I ripped him for it. I mean, ripped him. Like, okay, first of all, in a good way, in a dad way, of course. Not like, you know, speak down on him, but I let it go.
Right.
I said, "Oh, Caleb, first and foremost, don't you ever do that again." Like, what? You know, he said, "Well, they're fun to chew on." It's okay. Well, I'll get you some candy or something. But you remember Alex Rodriguez? It all started with Tums, son. That's where it all began. Sooner it's Tums. Next thing you know, it's performance enhancing stuff. I said, "Bubba, that's why I don't even let you drink Gatorade. Stay all natural, you know." But anyways, it was just funny because believe it or not, of course I'm having fun with this, but believe it or not, habits start so small. I mean, they start really small. We don't even realize something is becoming a habit until it's so hard to break because we do it without even thinking about it, right? It's habit, meaning we just do it. Probably the hardest habit for me to break was my bedtime routine. You know, I would never, the habit of like sleep, you know, the habit of like, you know, the fact that my sleep was so sporadic and maybe I would check Facebook before bed. Maybe I would, you know, check my phone. Maybe I would lay in bed with my phone and, you know, scroll Instagram or whatever. And actually that affects your sleep. So that was,
Right.
for me, that was a hard habit to break. Another habit for me to break, because when you're a high performer and you've always got so much going on, you do tend to be late a lot. And it was just a personal goal of mine not to try to be late to anything. Of course, that's tough when you do balance so much, but that's just a habit where I needed to, you know, break. And then probably the third habit that was hard for me to break was the pizza habit. God, I loved pizza so much. when I got into health, I had to break the habit of eating pizza. And even on the weekends, it became, even when it was my cheat day, I would like devour pizza because I loved it so much. So I had to like scale back and drop down to like once a month just to beat it, just to control it, just to like, you know. And I'm a big believer in having the right. At the end of the day, Mike, all you have to do to change in life is change your habits. That's it. But it's easier said than done,
Right.
of course. What about you? What was your hardest besides smoking? What else was hard for you to break, man?
Smoking actually wasn't hard for me. I think that uh, probably, yeah, my wife was definitely smoking. She literally begged me to kill her sometimes when she was quitting smoking, and it was so tense in the house that I considered it. So the that was a joke.
I didn't
So I
even
don't,
hear it. 'Cause it
get
cut off for
arrested.
a minute, so I missed that last part.
Oh, you missed it. Anyway, I think I was actually going to ask you. Let me ask you this as a follow up to yours, and then I'll get to mine probably. Um, yeah, exactly, Al. It was my anger. It was my uncontrollable rages that I fly into.
Now, Mike went through anger
Not
management
true.
courses for 5 years, but he finally broke it. He stopped throwing stuff, breaking windows, yelling at Carol, yelling at his kids, kicking the chair.
Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, when I smoked, I also used to chew tobacco, and that was hard for me to quit. Um, Putting down the Copenhagen was tough for me,
I'll bet it was.
and it was less. Well, there was a physical component to it, of course, the nicotine part, but it was more about the actual habit itself was much stronger to me and much more ingrained in me because it was, from probably 18 years, of doing that. And I remember like going fishing or something, you'd reach for like, where's my,
Shoot.
and but yeah, where's my dip? But so I just used like nicotine gum for probably about 4 weeks to help eliminate
Habit.
the physical part of it, the addiction, I guess. But the habit part of it was tough, man. It was rough. Sunflower seeds and bubble gum and
Yeah,
all
that's
kinds
a
of stuff.
baseball
But
player thing too. I mean, when in my younger years of baseball, I had the same situation. It wasn't even that I even enjoyed the chew. It was just the whole, playing ball with your friends and spitting it out while you're playing. It just felt good to go up to the plate and just give a good spit. But anyways, hey, we got to get off this topic before it goes south.
hey,
But listen, thing I want to say as a clarification. Caleb was not addicted to Tums. I think he had an upset stomach. His mom gave him some Tums one
right,
day before a game, and he was like, wow, these are really good, and he kept chewing. I don't want anyone to think that my poor son
right.
has an addiction to Tums, but he's like, could be worse, but I definitely said you're not allowed to do that ever again. But anyway, go ahead, Mike, what were you about to say?
I'm actually interested to know. So the late night and the late night scrolling in bed, reading, especially an illuminated LCD screen later in the evening, is not good for us. It is difficult for us to get to sleep. And here's a life coaching tip for those of you who have trouble sleeping. Don't look at an illuminated screen for like 60 minutes prior to bedtime.
So
But I'm wondering, Matt, how you sort of I'm wondering how you sort of broke that habit because that's, you and I, we're both very busy. We're engaged in electronic social media and all those sort of things. Tell me how what was the process like?
Mike, I got to confess right now on our own talk show, right out before the entire world, here I am. I'm an open book, okay? I'm about to tell you a secret. It was hard, Mike. I mean, to tell you right now, my phone is like a kid to me. I mean,
Yeah,
my phone going missing would almost be equivalent to my son going missing. I mean, not exactly, of course, but my phone is so much, and it's become all of our lives. Mike, the hardest thing for me to do was to stop that. For me, I just literally pulled out an Excel spreadsheet one day and I typed up a bedtime routine checklist and made myself check it off every night until it became routine, habitual, and whatever. Now, having said that, still to this day, the hardest thing to do is not check my phone because I'm waiting on so many things. Maybe a response from somebody that I might be selling something to, maybe a business thing, maybe a family thing, maybe a friend, maybe something from you, who knows? So you're always like just, or maybe You sent somebody a message, an email, and you're hoping they respond before, tomorrow morning because you really need their response. So it's hard to disengage. There's just no other way around it, Mike. I mean, you know what I had to do? I literally had to start plugging my phone up out in my kitchen and just leaving it out there until morning. It's hard, so hard, because, most people I know literally can't turn off their phone for fear of emergency, right? And I'm not saying that's wrong. For me to disengage, I had to do that. I had to literally just set it down and say, okay, I'm done for the night. Jeff Arnold, believe it or not, after he eats dinner, he literally turns his cell phone off. Literally, like turns it off. Of course, he's not as engaged on social media and all that kind of stuff like we are, but I'm just telling you a habit of somebody very successful that I know personally. And, I like what Lance said, and I agree, airplane mode is a gift. But, Mike, it was hard. To this day, it's hard. To this day, it's hard. Maybe out of 7 nights, I might check it right before bed, maybe 6.5. Depending on what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I get one good. It's kind of, you know what? Checking my phone is like getting a day off for me. I believe in it. I know I should do it, right? But I haven't quite mastered it yet. That's me. That's honesty. I'm giving you raw honesty here.
Good. Christy's asking, what time do you disengage? I mean, what's a good time frame if someone's looking to change that habit?
I'm in my routine right now. This month has this by far one of the craziest months of my life, with having to go to Michigan for a wedding and a funeral, and then Ohio,
right,
and then Louisiana for a whole week this week. I got home yesterday, unpacked, got Caleb from school, all that stuff. Turn around, leave Thursday morning. So and then it happens again next week. I get home Monday, leave again the next Thursday. So I'm not in my routine. When I'm in my routine, I like to be in bed before 11, up at 4 or 5. That's me. So I usually disengage around 10, 10:30, and that's when I'll plug it up, turn it on silent to where I can't even hear it ring, and literally just willpower my way not to check it again until morning. But you better know that when that alarm goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, first thing I do when I'm not even awake is go grab my phone and check. Okay. Who texted, who emailed, who whatever. Probably not better, probably not as good either to do that. Some of the experts tell you not to until a certain time, which that's for a whole nother show, and I'll give you my philosophy on that. But, what about you, Mike? I know you probably have the same weakness problem, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I actually, Mary asked, how do I do it? I don't. Honestly, I look at devices pretty much until I close my eyes. I have zero problem sleeping, ever. I can sort of fall asleep whenever I want, and so it's not really affected me. I have been considering doing this, and I think that I'm going to put aside 60 minutes just to see if it improves the quality of my sleep at night. So
I can tell
so I really haven't. But you know what I wanted to point out, and one thing that you mentioned, I just wanted to pull out of that statement that you made was that right now you're out of your routine and maybe not doing it the way that you want to and so forth. But it's like anything, you want to be trending upwards, right? You want to be trending towards that goal.
Yes.
And so if you're trying to change a habit, if you're trying to make changes in your life and your lifestyle, don't get hung up on the little, okay, this week is crazy and whatever, and don't just throw it away because you went 3 days without executing what you wanted to do, right? If you're executing 60%, okay, great. So now shoot for 70%, move towards 80%, right? And just trend upwards. And as long as you're trending upwards, don't get down on yourself, don't get negative. Just keep trending that direction and look, play the long game, basically. Here's actually a great question.
That's good and wise. That's good, wise advice. And as long as you're moving in the right direction. I know I am, because my intention is to disengage from my phone. Sometimes I literally, because of the stage we're at in our business, I can't. Sometimes I just have to. Last night I was at a place of just pure exhaustion. Mike and I were supposed to work on a business project, and thankfully he had mercy on me. I said, man, friend, I can't even keep my eyes open. It was 10. He's probably thinking, my God. Half the day's not even over yet. What do you mean? I just couldn't do it. I'd been up since 4. I'd traveled. Caleb wore me out. You name it. Anyways, probably too. The thing of it is, guys, is here's the deal. habits are powerful. The good habits can make you a millionaire. The right habits can give you abs. The right habits can cause you to lose 60 pounds. The right habits could change your marriage. The right habits could make you from being a deadbeat dad to like the dream dad. The wrong habits could give you a heart attack. The wrong habits could cause you a divorce. The wrong habits could cause your kids to resent you. The wrong habits could cause you to gain weight and get diabetes. So like habits are powerful. And I think every one of us should have a list of the habits that are bad in our life that we want to change, and we should focus on them one at a time. Like, I think last year there was like 20 something, what I would consider bad habits that I had, big and small, that I wanted to change. And I just started focusing on one at a time for 30 days. And over a period of time, Mike, I noticed my list getting smaller and smaller, and I feel like I have grown. I feel like I've gotten better, and trying to, fix any bad habits in my life. Again, bad habit doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's just, it is bad. I'm not talking about like evil bad, corrupt bad, perverted bad. I'm talking about it's a bad habit. Could be not returning a phone call. Could be not sending a thank you card. It could be not balancing your checkbook. It could be not getting gas in your car when it's on empty. Me, I ran out of gas 3
Who does that?
3 times I ran out of gas. It's unacceptable. I stood there on the bridge mad. I'm like, why? Because I thought, you know what? I think I can make it across this bridge. I think I can do it. It's because you don't want to stop, right? To me, it's so boring to have to just stand there and hold the thing until it, whatever. It's just boring to me. And that's something I had to change, Mike, is a willingness to do boring stuff.
Well, plus I think to you, it's like a challenge. It's like, yeah, I can make it.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Like, well,
you're probably right.
There's like a physical barrier you're going to hit here, bro, okay? I mean, Anyway.
We were together and you said, hey, we gotta get gas. I'm like, you kidding me? We got 50 more miles. We can drive this thing till tonight. You're like, no, we're going to get gas.
You know what? Just for the people that are watching or listening to this later, if I'm driving my car and it gets down to like the distance to empty is anywhere under 10 miles an hour, we literally take a picture and text it to Matt.
Oh, yeah.
So
I get pictures all the time. I think they're trying to impact my subconscious mind that like, hey, get gas. And I've done better, Mike, because the last time I ran out of gas, it cost me like almost an hour and 10 minutes of my time. By the time I waited for someone to pick me up, had to go get gas in the gas can. Actually, one time I thankfully had my bike with me. I had to get it out of my truck and pedal home. Actually, do a show. Remember? I ran out of gas before a show one day. And
that's right.
I was pedaling and sweating. I thought to myself, okay, I'm changing. If it looks close to empty, I'm just going to get, even if it's $20, I'm putting gas in. And money's not the issue. The issue is I don't want to stand there and just.
Well, that's why you got to make it a game.
How?
You make it a game. Well, I do the math, right? I always pump my gas so that the total number, all of the digits add up to 11. Right? And if the digits that the price add up to 11 and the gallons add up to 11, I call that a double. I take a picture of it. And if I get it on pump 11, then it's a triple.
He really does, guys. And he gets pumped about it.
I do.
He's in.
I do.
Everybody at the whole gas station's like leaning over watching. Because the dude, you think he just won a lot. You think he just won a scratch off and got an extra $500, when he hits his number. Mike, I think I'd go out of my mind trying I'm going to have to try something else, my friend. Maybe I'll try like memorizing quotes or something like that. Most of the time I'm on.
Well, it's it's a math thing, So not everybody's a math nerd like myself.
So anyways, back to habits in our last 30 seconds, guys. Here's the deal. The bottom line is changing habits can be a challenge, but it is possible for anybody to change their habits if you focus and you do the opposite. So, it's all in your action. It's all in what you do daily. It's got to become something you do consistently, like as consistent and daily. Like Lance said, Mike needs a life. Way to call it like it is, Lance. I know. We got to get Mike out more, maybe.
Hey, hang on a second, because when we were in Nashville for Mission 25, my credit card hit the fraud alert, and they stopped, paying it. So, or it deactivated it, and I had to call the credit card company. And so we'd driven down to Nashville, so we stopped for gas for like 7 times on the way down, or 6 times or whatever. And so as they're reading the totals off to me, they're like, "Now, did you put in 3701? Yeah, that was me, right? Okay, how about 2505 or 2504? Yep, that was me, right?" So all the digits totaled up to 11. So
they're probably thinking, how do you remember this? Are you like staring at your checkbook?
Yeah.
Speaking of credit cards, Mike, I don't know if I ever shared this on the show before. I might have. I was on a date once, and my my debit card got declined. Like, this is the most embarrassing moment in a man's life. I don't know of anything that could be more embarrassing. It was a first date with it just was a first date. And the waiter comes out, if I'm a waiter, I've thought of this many times. Here's how I'm doing it. If I clearly see a dude is on a date, right? I'm saying, I'm like waving at him from over at the restaurant, trying to get his eye contact with me. And I'm like, smoothly, like, come here real quick, right? And I'm pulling him over, and I'm like, "Hey, bud, listen. I don't want to embarrass you in front of your girl, man, but your card's been declined, man. So just letting you know, is there another card, or what can I help you do, man? Let's fix this so you're not, like, going under the bus right in front of your lady," right? That's what I would do. To me, that's like what a fellow man should do to each other. Not this dude, bro. He had no tact. He literally came right up to my table and says, "Mr. Maddox," like almost, I felt like saying, "Hey, you want to announce it to the whole restaurant while we're at it?" He's like, no, like, quietness. I would have even written a little note, like, "You know what? Hey, how about a little note, Mr. Maddox, see me in a minute, your card's been declined." Because then I would have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just use the restroom real quick," right? Like, so in other words, he says, "Mr. Maddox, just want to let you know your card's been declined. Is there a way you have another card?" Well, I didn't, and I always do, but I was actually out of town. And it wasn't that I didn't have money in my account, which was extremely imperative. How do you explain this? What you got to say? I said, "No." I said, "You know what? There's probably been a mistake." I said, let me call my card company." So now you're on your first date. There's this awkward moment. And she's like, "Oh, I'll just pay." And I said, No. It's all good. Trust me. I got money in the account. Let me just call and see what happened. So I called the card company. They said, "Oh, yeah, we randomly, for security purposes, we noticed, you traveled today and you were in different states using your card." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the 21st century. Of course I did. Like, who doesn't? I travel all the time." I said, "I'm on a date right now." And I said, "You just gave me the most embarrassing moment of my entire life over some random security check." I said, "Why not call me? Don't you guys got my cell phone on record? Where's the customer service? Why don't you call me, text me? Hey, bro, are you really out where you say you are right now?" I said, I need you to fix this. I need you to lift the limit or whatever the security thing is so I can use my card so I can go pay for my date. They're like, "I'm sorry, but we actually can't do that. It takes 20. I said, "Oh, no. Hear me right now. I need your supervisor. I don't care. I got a date." I was like, "What if this was your son?" I told the lady, I said, "What if this was your son out on a date?" And she's like, "Well, let me just see if there's anything I can do." So finally, after like 15 long minutes of my date being out there thinking that I'm some broke dude, right? I come back in with my head between my, Mr. Confident. I'm on top of the world, right? Smooth. I mean, the date was smooth. I'm not going to lie. The venue, the place I took her was smooth. Opened her door. Everything was just smooth. I was in the flow until this absolutely tactless waiter comes up and says, "Mr. Maddox, your card has been declined," in front of the whole restaurant, right? So anyways, finally I come out, I sit down, I'm beat red, and I said, "Look, you know what?" I said, I have money. I was like, but they did this random security thing, and she goes, "Oh, that's okay." And, but what is she thinking? Did she go home and tell her dad? Did she text her friends, It's one of those moments, you'll never outlive it, Mike. It's just one of those things. But for some reason, your credit card experience at the gas station made me think about that.
I would actually love to see the text messages that went back and forth in those 15 minutes that she was sitting at the table waiting for you. That would have been great.
She's like, and then to make it worse, she goes, I have no problem paying it. I would have paid it. I said, no, that's not the principle. I was like, I have money. I was like, that's the issue is, and so it's made for an awkward moment. Needless to say, we're not dating now. So must have really rocked her world.
I was going to say it was at the first date and the last date.
Well, let me tell you what I've learned. I always keep cash on me when I go on dates for that reason. Just in case. Because, I'm never going to, I know if I got money in my account. I know. So I'm not going to give them a card and, pray in Jesus' name it goes through, I'm like, I know. And so, now just in case, but still, to me, I want to do seminars for waiters and waitresses to be more smoother if you see a dude's on a date. That's all I ask. That's all I'm asking. Just be a little more smoother about it.
Yep. Good stuff.
I'm assuming Kevin O'Leary would not have been happy if he was in my shoes, Karen. Anyway, Mike, talk about stress. Just talking about that made me feel stressed. I need to go run for 15 minutes now.
Yeah. I'm with you. I like to have cash because for whatever the reason, I just through experience, I don't really trust my credit cards. They're not credit cards, they're debit cards, but I don't trust them because it's just, there's too many things can happen. I don't care if there's $10,000 in there, which there isn't, but if there was, even so, that comfort of cash is like, here's cash.
Yeah. Well,
cash always works.
And of course, then if you're you're on a date and you can whip out a wad of hundreds, and as he's you're just flipping through looking for the 20s, what I'm saying? That's a good little, that's good, a little bit better than pulling out a card. So hold on. How much is, hold on a second. Pull out this big wad of hundreds. Right? Start flowing through, get to the 20s. You got the goods right there, my friends. And there's no chance of decline.
Yeah.
Cash is king. Tommy's right. We're way over time today, Mike. I don't know how you let that happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I just lost track of time. I was having so much fun.
You end at 37:11 or 37:15. What would that be? Are you going to start ending the shows to where it's 11?
I can.
Hey, you guys are awesome. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 9:30. Thanks for the flexibility. We are live every single day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much. If this show helps you, put it out on your social media. Send it to friends. Text the link. You can go to iTunes and download our podcast. And we'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. God bless you, my friends.
See y'all tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.